like over here just like, you guys got to listen to the Tosspints. You got to listen to him. You got to listen to him. I can't stop talking about it, man. And we're getting feedback right now. There's a chat feature on the website that we broadcast through, and people are like, yeah, they like it. They say a little more cowbell, but I'm just kidding.
Oh man, our drummer is all over the cowbell. We got a couple of tracks, and he's got that thing on stage. 55 years old, and so he's old school from the 70s, and that cowbell is just, you got to keep him from using it.
You know, he looks kind of like Salvador Dali in that Hollow Man video, dude. You know, that's cool. You guys got the look too, man. You dress sharp, you know. It's cool, man. It really is.
We dress sharp for that video. We had a production company. It was the first time we got 3 music videos. It was the first time we actually paid somebody to make one. And it seems like every time we release an album, we get, you know, just a little bit higher a level than we were at the album before. We're getting a little better at this every single time. And you know, not quite superstars, but we're getting it right finally.
Bro, you can't.
Part of that you learn is you have to start actually paying people to do things.
Yeah.
So the punk rock DIY ethos only goes so far, and then once you start playing, you know, national music festivals, and you know your music getting airplay on, you know, CMJ radio stations and stuff like that, you got to just bite the bullet and turn around and start paying people.
Yeah.
Don,
go with the branding. Yeah, absolutely, you have to go with the branding after a while. You know, the creative is there, the artisan is there, but after a while, you have to play the game.
Yeah, we're trying to play the game here too. You know.
It's funny because the internet's really been a game changer, and I've been doing this for 25 years, and this is the best band I've ever been in. But I'm in a band with my stepbrother, and our drummer was our mom's boyfriend for the longest time, family type deal. So it's going a lot further just because there's no turmoil. You know, I don't fight with my brother. I hear so many people talk about how much they hate their brother, and they don't get along with him, and they fight him, and they clash, and they grew up that way, and then we grew up best friends. So it's like the most natural thing in the world for us to be in this band. So it gives us a lot of time to just create, and it also means that we're more mature about things and more professional about things, so we get a lot more done than I ever have in any other band.
Well, I want to break this down a bit because you sounded like really important right there. But I want to say, like, I saw your interests are drinking and illicit sex. Is there an order in which that comes? Is it drinking or illicit sex? Because I like drinking, you know.
Well, I find you can't have the one without the other.
Exactly.
I had another question. This is almost Chuck. I was just
chicken or the egg thing, you know.
Yeah, right.
Like what came first?
Which comes first? Hold on.
No. You're talking about these camaraderies. I'm an older guy. I'm almost Chuck. And I remember about the Kinks and Ray Davies beating the shit out of his brother. I'm thinking about the Stones, Keith and Mick beating the shit out of each other and going away for months and months, even years without even speaking to each other, and then coming back and collaborating. Is it that type of tension?
Believe it or not, it's you know, we get a little bit of a clash because sometimes we don't communicate as well as we probably should about things, and it's always going to be resolved quicker with a group like this because I got to see those guys at Christmas. You know, I got family functions, I got other things, and it's not even that I got to. It's that I respect the hell out of both of them, and I wouldn't really want to do anything to hurt them, and they feel the same way about us. So, you know, it's never ever come to blows, even to the point where we've had train wreck shows where, you know, drummer so drunk he falls over his drum kit, or
kind of like our radio show.
No, I'm just saying, has it come down to brass tacks yet in regards to creativity, even referencing even the Beatles, you know, once that incredible mecca starts biting for the bit, where does the ego play in?
I'm not certain that any of us really have a huge ego. Try to keep it humble. You know, I get pretty low self-esteem, so pretty much any positive feedback that I get on any of this is a huge booster for me. And then my ego is checked from the beginning, so I'm my own worst critic. So the other guys are kind of the same way too. You know, we're as much as we'd like to pretend we're a cool rock band, we're nerdy, introverted people. Sit in the basement and listen to Rush, and our bassist, my brother, he's a history teacher, got college degrees in history, finishing his master's right now, and so we're bookworms and that sort of thing. So it's not like we follow that rock and roll model. You know, if anything, we follow more Rush's model. You know, they never really had any big fights, and they never really had any turmoil.
On through the night,
thing, you know?
On through the night, or 2112, or Trees.
2112 is my favorite album by far.
Nice.
Neil Peart.
Betty Lee, man.
That was one of the first CDs I ever got. I got like Queensryche. I think I was in the 6th grade in like 1985 or whatever it was, 84.
The Passages to Bangkok is the best. I was smoking dope in '79, going to high school and listening to Passages to Bangkok, man.
That's cool. Yeah, Chuck's all about banging cock, so whatever.
Fuck you.
So, excuse me, Don. I wanted to touch a little bit, and we don't have like all the time in the world. It's not, I wish we had a show every night, but and dude, I could talk to you guys endlessly. Honestly, I could. I'm sure Chuck could too. He never shuts up. No, but seriously, I wanted to touch base on your patriotism. You being a serviceman, I know it's a big, important thing for a lot of us here in the studio. Our families, a lot of our friends have served for us. I personally haven't, but I do have a tremendous amount of respect, and I know the song Hollow Man has a lot to do with that. Can you touch a little bit about what it was like when you were a soldier? Is there anything that you'd like to drop out there? I know you talked about PTSD, and you're kind of open about getting people to talk about it, to be able to come to grips with it. And it's kind of like a thing for you. What do you have to say about that?
Well, that's a deeply important subject to me because I went to Iraq 2004 and came back in 2005, and then just sort of floated along for a while after that. And back when I got home, it wasn't a big deal. People didn't really understand PTSD, and it wasn't until a couple of years later that they really started getting into treatment and therapy for these guys that were coming home. And when we got home, it was like, well, see you guys later. Have fun. Here's 30 days off. And I was part of the stop-loss program, so that's when they actually kept you over your time just to continue serving overseas. And so when I got out of Iraq, I got off the plane, and I think it was like 25 days later, I was home in Saginaw, Michigan. And I suffered with PTSD for the longest time, and I don't really want to go into a lot of detail about that, but
Sure.
I didn't understand what was going on with me. I didn't know. And then a friend of mine who was a Marine vet, local guy, he started getting help. And then he started getting all of his friends, like me and other guys who he knew served overseas and were having problems. He started pushing us to get help. And once I did, it was completely life-altering. I had no idea what was going on with me. I drank a lot. I was mean. I kept to myself. There was a lot of things that were going on that were just really. I just thought that that's the way I am. Whatever, who cares? Yeah. Realized that I was having some sort of mental health problem until I started getting help, and after that it was sort of like this thing where now I regret. I started going to the VA in 2012, and so I regret all that time from 2005 to 2012 when I was a jerk to everybody, and I really did drink my problems away. And I was, I don't want to, really get into that either.
No,
but if you drink too much alcohol, you become enough of an alcoholic. When you stop drinking, you have to go to the ICU because it's the only drug that can actually kill you. That was my wake-up call, is when I decided I wanted to quit up to the ICU so I didn't die. And then it was like,
Wow.
oh man, this is real.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is like really, really bad. So I try as much as I can with the music that we write, and even with people who want to try and get a hold of me, just ask, story, just so I can encourage them the best I can. I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but I try to do my best to advocate for those people and to push them and tell them that, it's scary, it's hard to do, but you'll thank yourself for doing it. And in a lot of ways, getting help for PTSD was harder for me than the time I spent in Iraq.
Understood.
And it's there's a lot of pride swallowing, and there's a lot of admission that there's something wrong with you, which is really hard to do. And so, that's actually really what the song Hollow Man is about. It's about this huge empty feeling that you have when you're a veteran. And you come home and nobody really understands you. And it's I don't want to say it's plagiarized. It's inspired by a T.S. Eliot poem that he wrote about the similar feeling that they had after World War I, when an entire generation of people was just gone. And just this great sense of I don't want to call it was almost like a desperation, but a quiet desperation, just sort of engulfed Europe. And that's a feeling that a lot of vets get. They feel like people don't understand them, that they can't go to anybody, and that telling somebody that they feel this way is a weakness. And it's important not to feel that way, and somebody's got to tell them. A lot of the time you got to hold somebody's hand and tell them it's like, man, it's okay.
Yeah.
So that's what that song, and I've got a few others. Especially on the newest album. Like the last two albums have been more veteran heavy than the first two albums were. But it's something that I believe really heavily in, and that I push for, and I try to do that with my time. I don't got much else to do with my time but play guitar and that.
That's good, man. There's two things that kind of come up for me after hearing what you say there, and I appreciate you explaining the song too, because people really love that song. And now that they hear it from you, how you were inspired to write it, that's pretty cool. I appreciate that. And two things come up for me. The first one is the irony about how such a big, strong, tough soldier can come back and say, this is something that makes me so weak. You know what I mean? And the second thing that I really thought about with what you just said is the therapy part about it, where you say, you're not a therapist, you're not here to, help anybody else out in that respect, but your music kind of does, you know what I mean? And you just explaining it like that to people, I'm sure people will listen to that song and get it, and you actually are, just by making the music. You're providing therapy for other people like that, which is pretty cool. So don't sell yourself short, man. That's what it's all about.
As far as the music goes, that's really my own therapy.
Right.
I got regular therapy and stuff that I go to, but when I'm coming home and I'm, feeling a certain way, not every song that I write is like that. And I write a lot of crappy love songs and other things. This is actually my second time being in a songwriters club. Was it 2 years ago? I wrote 53 songs in 1 year, one a week.
That's
I'm doing that again this year.
Nice.
And I'm trying to get to 78 songs this year. So, there's a lot of winners, and then there's some of those losers. And but songs like that, usually when I'm feeling that way, when I'm struggling, if I sit down and write a song, it's a therapy for myself. And actually, there's a group in Nashville, Tennessee, called Operation Song, and they pair professional Nashville Grammy-winning songwriters with veterans just for them to write songs about their own story, the same way that I've already found out how to write myself. Mm-hmm. And they found that it's an immensely effective therapy, very therapeutic for them. It helps them get a story out that otherwise they really wouldn't be able to tell. It's easier to sing it than it is to say it. And when you're singing it, there's a lot more anonymity. So, you're singing about your feelings, and you're talking about what's going